Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I thought today I'd talk about one incident that had a significant impact in my life. This was back in school, year 7. There was me, an absolutely useless student who hated studying, and there was a headmaster who the entire school respected. Now, I studied in Bishop School, Pune, and those who are from Pune probably know back then it was an all boys high school. One thing synonymous with all us boys was that we loved to hate our teachers, and we had no respect for teachers for some weird reason. But there was one man who each and every person, or at least each and every person I knew, had a lot of respect for, and that was our headmaster, Mr. Gazda. So the story goes like this. In year 7, there was a maths test, a midterm maths test for 20 marks. And I had absolutely not studied anything. But I went to school and realized that I was starting to really panic. Panic to an extent that I thought that I wish I actually get hurt or something and I don't have to do this exam. So I decided eventually to fake a stomach ache. I told my teacher, look, my stomach's really aching. She took me to the infirmary. They gave me some medicine. I lied down there for a couple of hours and then eventually went and told the nurse that, look, my stomach's aching. I want to go home. Now, the last step of going home was to go to Mr. Gazda and get his approval, being the headmaster. And he would call my parents and tell them, look, come pick up your son. So he asked me, is there any exam or is there any test that you have today? And I mentioned that, look, I have a maths exam. And he said, you know what? Whatever happens, I think you should just go and sit for that exam. I know you're struggling with your health, but just sit down and do that exam. He probably figured out that I was lying because he was a headmaster. He had taught boys for probably, I think, 20 years before that. So he knew boys. And he just looked at me and he said, you know what, go sit down and write the exam. Because of the respect I had for Mr. Gazda, I decided, you know what, I'm going to sit down. I'm actually going to listen to Mr. Gazda because I cannot disappoint him. So I go, and as I'm writing the exam, I'm just thinking about Mr. Gazda. I'm just thinking, why did I do this? Because I don't know one single answer from there. I somehow finished whatever I could. I just write it down and I submit the paper. And 2 weeks later, the results come out. This is not a feel-good story. I did not get 20 on 20. I got 0 on 20. Now, that image of looking at the paper, the handwriting of my teacher saying 0 on 20, and that image of extremely poor is like an image that lives rent-free in my mind. So I went back home, showed it to my parents. My dad was not really bothered. He was all right. And my mother was obviously really, really disappointed, but she really didn't say much. But the one thing I realized is that nothing really happened. Life moved on. And I faced my fear at that point. And in the end, it wasn't that bad, or it wasn't as bad as what I thought in my head it would be. So for each and every person who's struggling to face their fears, my sincere advice would be face it. And whatever you think the outcome's going to be, it's not going to be that bad. And to Mr. Gazda, I am forever, ever grateful to you for that single incident, because that moment actually was a turning point in my life.